Friday night celebration, Boston Marathon style. Runners all around the world are continuing to clock their 26.2-mile journeys in their own communities. It's certainly a change of scenery as participants cross finish lines other than the famous one on Boylston Street. But these accomplishments remain equally as impressive. Nicely done. All right, hello everyone, and thanks for joining us here on CBS Boston, and welcome to Boston Marathon Live. I'm your host, Dan Roche. This is day 7 of the Boston Marathon virtual experience. All week, Lisa Hughes has been bringing you the latest on this year's race, and now I'll be with you for what's sure to be a busy weekend for runners. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see today's finishers and their times on our TCS ticker. That information is coming from the app that each runner is using to track his or her race. And on this 7th day of the Boston Marathon virtual experience, and more of you are getting out there heading into the weekend. Yes, it's nicely done. 690 runners in 37 different countries crossed their finish line. That brings us to just over 5,600 total finishes so far. Meanwhile, right this minute, 10 people around the world are running their marathons, literally around the world. The United States, Hong Kong, China, Australia. Here in the U.S., they're running in Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Well, this year the Boston Marathon is a celebration, but it's also a day of remembrance for those who were lost and injured in the bombing 7 years ago. Today is another day that we stop and recall the unforgettable events of September 11th, 2001 as well. Now, former Patriot Joe Andruzzi has been uniquely touched by both of these events. Boston Marathon fans may know Joe for the team that runs every year for his foundation to raise money for cancer patients. But 19 years ago, his 3 brothers, all New York firefighters, were in those towers. And Joe was in the Forum Bar on Boylston Street when the second bomb exploded in 2013. He wasn't hurt, but helped those who were. These are clearly memories that will stay with him forever.
Thinking about 19 years ago, I had an early morning dentist appointment, sitting in a dentist chair and hearing over the radio that a small plane hit the towers. And you know, by the time I left, it was a second plane hit, and got home and turned the TV on and saw the catastrophe and what was going on. And I had a gut feeling that if not one, or maybe all 3 of my brothers that were there during that day, and just so happens that one of them was one of the first responders into Tower 1, and, you know, climbing up, you know, everybody's got a story and climbing up in the building, and, you know, they were just doing their jobs. That's a normal, you know, fire they were fighting in their minds, and they were climbing to the 80-something floor and got stalled a little in the 20s, and, you know, come to find out that one of his colleagues had chest pains, thought he was having a heart attack, so the whole battalion stops there, and then they turned around and took care of him. Tower 1 was hit first, so Tower 2 was hit second, but fell first. And he was still in the staircase, and it went pitch black, and they made it out down to the lobby, and he said he just was running out of the building as it was falling behind him. And him and his colleagues were just running and running, and then when the cloud of smoke stopped behind them, they turned around and went back, and come to find out that their colleague who was having chest pains, thought he was having a heart attack, ended up with just a strained muscle. And, you know, scary, but that slowed them up enough where they were able to get out of that building while it was falling behind them. So, you know, you know, we cherish, you know, him and everything that he does for our family, and what he still does, going on 24 years for the FDNY. He's a lieutenant in Brooklyn, and he's actually on the emergency response teams, and he's actually out in California helping with those forest fires as we speak right now. So, you know, I was there on Boylston Street in Boston in 2013, and, you know, it was almost like flashbacks, and the eeriness of the Boston bombings, the similarities that my phone wasn't working, and things like that, and, you know, not knowing what was going on. But, you know, time will heal all wounds, and, you know, certain times that you got to get through things, and you got to be able to come back. And, you know, we started a saying up here, Boston Strong, and my brother told me many times, and I'm sure he was told many times, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And, I live by those words because, what he had to deal with, then my battle with cancer, just try and get stronger every day and then keep moving forward one day at a time. So you get stronger every day.
That's amazing. Amazing stuff, Joe. It really is truly your family. You are truly American heroes, and I say that with all due respect for everything that you've been through. Take us back, if you will, also. Now that you look back on it, too, 12 days later, the September 23rd game, you came out with the American flag. Take us through that, but also your brothers being honored at midfield. Now looking back, what did it mean to you then, but maybe more so, what does it mean to you now?
Then it was just, it was all about them. When Mr. Kraft came up to me when we started back a week later and asked me if my brothers would like to be honorary captains, and I relayed the message. They weren't accepting at first because they didn't want to represent and get any praises for what happened. And I just kind of explained it to them on the fact of, you're not going out there for yourselves. You're not going out there for me. You're not going out there for the Crafts, Patriots, and we happen to play the Jets. You're going out there for everyone that has been involved, everybody that cherished and that day, and the others that are still being sought after and trying to be found, and the loved ones that are out there to stay stronger and to be out there and to keep moving forward and to be able to help them move on. And they stood out there, the three of them, and my father was a 23-year New York policeman and retired, and he stood out there because was all those, the police, fire, everybody that was involved, and knowing that what they went through and being out there to hear the roar of the crowd, and hopefully the first and last time that we ever see the Patriots and Jets fans holding hands. So, we'll see what the future holds. But for myself, knowing they were out there and what they represented, and then everybody knew my story and they knew my brothers and dad were out there. And so when they called my name, just so happens there was two American flags that were taped on the wall in the Foxborough Stadium, the tunnel coming out, and I just instantly just grabbed them and held them high in the air, and everybody knew what that meant, and we needed to come together and get stronger, and let time heal our wounds. And
amazing stuff. And again, let's talk about the Boston Marathon. That ties in with it too. You've got your Joe Andruzzi Foundation. You got your team of runners that have run the Boston Marathon. How important has the Boston Marathon become? And especially, nothing against New York, and all you New York people and everything else, which your brashness and everything else. But you're a Bostonian now, Joe. I feel like you're a fabric of this community.
Yeah. Well, my wife and I call us adopted Bostonians, so we're locked in. We're locked into here now. So we're in Boston. We are Bostonians now. We love it here.
What does the Boston Marathon mean to you, Joe? It's because that's a day when everybody comes together, and I think what we all appreciate is not just the elite runners that we watch, but it's more so the stories of every finisher. And you have a lot of those types of stories for people that run for the team Joe Andruzzi Foundation.
Yeah, I mean, so since our charity team has started in 2011, I didn't know much about it because, it's usually a work week for us. It usually lands on around minicamp, if I remember. But
yep.
I didn't know much about it. And I heard, while I was playing here, it's Patriot Day. And then once retiring and after beating cancer and making home here, you learn more about it. And then coming to find out about the great program that John Hancock has for the Boston Marathon, and we're able to, put an entry in and receive bib numbers and be able to turn around and have, if people, I don't know why, but people have this marathon on a bucket list, but it's nowhere near my bucket list. I don't have a marathon. My wife's run it 3 times, and God bless her. I don't know. I see him every year. I mean, I hung up my running shoes when I retired, and I grabbed some pom-poms. So I'm a cheerleader now. I just don't wear the skirt. But and you're probably happy I don't wear a skirt, but overall, since 2011, we had some great runners be a part of our program. Team JAF rallies every year. We have many people that come back, many people that have great stories a part of it. They are running for certain reasons and purpose, and knowing what they're doing out there is truly remarkable. And I see a lot of them coming down Boylston Street where, they only have, 0.2 miles to go, and, and you see them cramping up. You see how much they're hurt, and, it look like me after a hard day of training camp, but can't compare because, they were just moving for hours, and it's just an unbelievable thing that they do going out there. And sometimes it's one and done. Sometimes they go for a purpose, and whether they're running for their family member, friend, or somebody, that knowing that every step they take is paying it forward for our foundation. They're paying it forward for many cancer patients and their families, and knowing that you raise money, and you might be paying your neighbor's mortgage if they were sick, or rent, utilities that sometimes are forgotten about during a cancer battle. And it gets tough on a lot of people, a lot of patients, with the financial toxicity that cancer brings on families, and how many people become bankrupt after a cancer treatment. And it's scary to even think of that, but knowing even this year that we had 29 runners that were training and getting ready for the marathon and turning around, and they all raised money for us, and they continued to raise money for us after it was first postponed. And they all were, most of them went out and were running it virtually, and some still plan on doing it. And the team itself has raised over $230,000 this year, which is unbelievable, knowing that there's many people out there all throughout New England, because we help any cancer, any age, no matter where you are in New England. We're there to help. And knowing that for me to walk into a hospital to get a hug from a complete stranger that I never met before, just to say thank you with a tear in their eyes, it just gives me chills to even tell you right now, because it's one of the most rewarding things that my wife Jen and I have done for now 13 years, and hope to do it for many more years.
Yeah, Joe and Jen Andruzzi, certainly some amazing human beings, that's for sure. Our thanks to them. All right, the coronavirus pandemic has led to changes in this year's race that none of us could have anticipated. But they're affording one runner the unique opportunity to bring along a tiny teammate. CBSN Boston's Tashani Whitlow introduces us to tonight's honorary Boston Marathon team member, Amanda Waters.
I'm going to push her in the stroller for as much as I can, and that's something that I never would have been able to do if I was doing it in April on the Boston Marathon course with everybody else.
New mom Amanda Waters of Ashland is running her 16th Boston Marathon, and thanks to COVID, she'll have company. But it won't be thousands of runners like previous years.
Experience it with Adina, experience it with Michael, and I'll have my family out there supporting, being the wonderful volunteers that they are every year at the Boston Marathon.
And when it comes to the Boston Marathon, it's a family affair.
My mother started volunteering at it in the mid-90s, and I joined her about a year later. So it's just always been a part of our fabric, of our family.
Waters, a member of the honorary team, opening her home every year to volunteers and runners from around the country.
You ready for a run?
We caught the science book editor training for her race this weekend, strapping her 8-month-old daughter Adina in and hitting her course in Ashland with her husband Michael, an avid runner and her coach. The two met several years ago at a race.
It's really impressive what Amanda's been able to do.
Training her entire pregnancy. Michael telling WBZ his wife ran a 5K race a week before her due date.
To go into it planning to run the marathon and having run 15 consecutive marathons, and then want to be a leader and inspire other women is really impressive. And I'm proud of her every day.
Being pregnant and running, I can't imagine that. Just running in general is hard, and imagine having a kid.
Stephen Purnell, a member of the BAA charity team Waters coaches, says she can do anything she puts her mind to.
She's so determined, hard worker. She's going to do great.
Waters inspiring those around her to keep pressing toward the finish line, no matter how different it looks this year.
Like all of us who are going to run in April, there have been so many ups and downs with doing almost all of your training through the hard winter, and then a couple weeks before the marathon, getting it to cancel. That's a huge disappointment. I've been really impressed on how they've handled it.
Running since high school, Waters also chairs the Women's U.S. Track and Field New England Association. She says this year isn't about beating her 3-hour and 3-minute Boston Marathon time. It's about having fun and inspiring the next generation of runners.
I want to show her that she has a strong mother and she can do things too later. Hopefully when she gets older, if she chooses to.
Tishani Whitlow, CBS in Boston.
Wow, she's certainly an inspiration, that's for sure. All right, a member of our CBSN Boston family completed his 26.2 today. Yes, here he is, Nick Giovanni, running his own virtual marathon. Yes, we found him passing by Gillette Stadium. Nick was training for his first Boston when the pandemic hit, and then last week he suffered a foot injury. But Nick still got out there, got it done, and today it's his birthday. Yes, congrats and happy birthday, Nick. Go have a few slices of cake. All right, now when you've been around as long as the Boston Marathon has been, you accumulate some pretty interesting mementos. Coming up on Boston Marathon Live, we'll take you on a tour of the BAA Archive. And keep the finish line pictures and videos coming. We want to celebrate your success right alongside you. So make sure to add the hashtag #FinishStrong to your social media post, and you might see yourself here on Marathon Live. Pretty cool stuff. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Edna Kiplaga. I'd like to wish all runners the best of luck as they run virtual Boston Marathon 2020. Have a great race. Thank you.
The 2018 Boston Marathon had high hopes to have its first American women's champion in 33 years. Marblehead's Shalane Flanagan came in with major momentum after winning in New York 5 months before. Conditions were cold and wet. Fellow American Desiree Linden just wasn't feeling it early in the race, but she ran with the pack and even stayed back with Flanagan when she needed to use the restroom midway through the course. Then, battling the rain and wind, Linden got a second wind. She chased down the leaders, took over the lead, and surged toward the finish.
Des Linden now coming down the center of Boylston Street with the police escort, about to savor the most delicious victory in running. There are people in windows with the windows open shooting video, capturing the end of this race on all sides of us.
Once she took that lead, Catherine, Desi has never faltered.
And she has never looked back, not once.
Des Linden now passing the grandstand here with just yards to go.
Validation after 7 years, here we are.
An incredible victory, arms raised, a fist pump, and Des Linden wins the Boston Marathon.
Becoming the first American woman to win Boston since 1985. Desiree Linden. That's pretty cool watching that finish. Welcome back to Boston Marathon Live on CBS Boston. Des Linden's 2018 victory on Boylston Street is just one of the many historic races that's graced our city. Tonight, Kate Merrill takes us deep into the archives of the BAA to explore 124 years worth of adversity and triumph.
When we moved into this office space, we really wanted to feature our items, so we have a a sweep of history.
It is a hallway that takes you back in time, filled with trinkets and treasures that are pieces of Boston Marathon legend and history.
We have from the original BAA Games, the first Boston Marathon in 1897, through the early part of the last century when the Canadians came down and had such dominance at Boston.
From then to now, this unique collection is a timeline filled with what we don't remember about the storied race to what we will never forget.
This may be the first jacket that ever crossed the finish line first at the Boston Marathon. Who could forget that rain-soaked year just a couple of years ago?
This makeshift museum is nestled in the front offices of the BAA in Boston, but this collection of the past is actually pretty new.
You didn't always have a great collection, right? I mean, this is something that's fairly recent.
It wasn't until the early 1990s that we began to seriously collect. In the early 1990s, we were starting to look forward to the 100th Boston Marathon, the centennial race in 1996. We didn't have much.
If you know how the unicorn became the symbol of the BAA, I'll give you $500. I don't know. No one knows.
The Boston Athletic Association COO Jack Fleming tells us it was their archivist and historian Gloria Ratty who tracked down the items for loan from former participants and their families, all to celebrate the 100th running of the race.
This was computer days. We just had telephones and typewriters, letters, etc. So I simply got on the phone, and after going to road races week after week.
When they saw how we were telling the stories, putting them on display, featuring what they gave to us and by extension them, they said, you know what, just keep it.
Every year since, the collection gets bigger and better, and one of Jack's favorites is one of the earliest.
It's the second place trophy from the first Boston Marathon.
And how these treasures were found is sometimes just as interesting.
It was in someone's attic, and it was pitted, and we restored it. We put it on a new wooden background. It did not look like this when it came to us, I can assure you of that. But when the family saw how we restored it to its original state, they were just amazed.
From the first race to the last, each item tells a different story, like every runner to hit the course. A small tribute to a very big part of Boston.
It's just a reminder on a daily basis to all of us here that we're working for the people that love the Boston Marathon, that want to participate, but there's the spectators, the neighbors, the Boston community as well. We're very proud.
Kate Merrill, CBSN, Boston.
And our thanks to Jack Fleming for that tour. Jack is one of the people that makes Boston so special, and that is, we're lucky to work with him each and every year, that's for sure. And good luck to Jack as he runs his virtual marathon tomorrow. All right, now to tonight's first John Hancock Friendship Relay, and these runners are doing whatever it takes to get the job done. Defending Boston and Chicago champion Lawrence Chirono is getting ready for next year's Olympic Games in Tokyo, and he ran his leg of the relay in Kenya. Looks just beautiful there, doesn't it? The conditions weren't quite so beautiful for U.S. Olympic medalist Galen Rupp.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Galen Rupp. I'm getting ready to start my leg for the John Hancock Boston Marathon Friendship Relay. I'm on the long one, the 10.2-mile leg, and I'm going to do it right here on my treadmill. We got a lot of smoke in the air. The air quality is not good due to some of the wildfires, unfortunately, that are going on here in the state of Oregon. But getting ready to start, looking forward to it, and here we go.
10.2 miles on a treadmill. The Boston runner-up finds a way to get it done despite the terrible conditions in Oregon. Abdi Abdurrahman is in Tucson, also training for the Olympics, his fifth representing the United States. This team finished in 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 46 seconds.
Good luck to everyone who is running 2020 Boston Marathon virtual. Good luck, everyone. Have fun, enjoy the moment, and see you guys 2021.
Now, while hundreds of thousands have been forced to evacuate because of those wildfires in Oregon, we're happy to report that Galen Rupp is still safe at home, and I'm sure still training on that treadmill. All right, ahead on Boston Marathon Live, tonight's training tip from the BAA. We'll be right back.
That's it, bring her home, go, 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 go!
Yeah, woo, Katie. Cue the champagne shower. Katie D'Angelo completed her first marathon this year, running around her hometown of Foxborough on Sunday. Katie is raising money for Dana-Farber Cancer Research in memory of her Aunt Mary. Waiting for her at the finish line was her dog, Miles, appropriately named after the 26.2 she ran this week. She has to get another dog, right? Name that one 26.2. That'd be kind of fun. All right, anyone who's run a marathon knows pacing is crucial to making it through the race. Here's tonight's training tip from the BAA as many runners get ready for race day this weekend.
My name is Gerald Mock. I'm a marathon runner on the Boston Athletic Association high performance team. Today's tip of the day, we're focusing on pacing. When thinking about pacing, there's a few things to consider. I think the first and most important is to just focus on a realistic goal based on where your recent training is at and maybe some recent race results you've had. This being a virtual race, you're going to be on your own, and so you may have a temptation to really push the pace early, but it's going to be important to stay relaxed and run within yourself, especially through the first half, so you don't go too fast too soon. The miles will start clicking by faster than you think after a while, so don't get too obsessed about your pace in the first few. Just stay relaxed and stay within your range that you've given yourself. And finally, if you're still feeling good at the end, that's the time to push it. You don't want to run fast early and try and put time in the bank early on because you might run out of gas later in the race. So it's better to run within yourself, and then if you want to push it and finish strong at the end, that's the time to do that.
Yeah, good advice. All right, when we come back, running 26.2 miles for a miracle. We'll introduce you to the runner who is taking part in this year's race to show his gratitude for Boston Children's Hospital. More on Liam Morley's Why next. And welcome back to Boston Marathon Live here on CBSN Boston, your go-to destination for everything about the Boston Marathon virtual experience. Well, a few more runners have hit the road since we came on the air. 12 people out there in 8 different countries and 3 states. Pretty cool. As we head into the final weekend of this Boston Marathon virtual experience, we go back to Kenya for our second John Hancock Friendship Relay of the night. Yamal Yimmer, the Ethiopian national record holder in the half marathon, teamed up with Caroline Chepkoech of Kazakhstan, 5K world record holder, and Kenyan Festus Talam, 2-time winner at Eindhoven. Yimmer ran in Addis Ababa, while Caroline and Festus were in Moiben, Kenya. The trio finished an impressive 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 31 seconds. Well, let's turn now to an unstoppable force. That's how Liam Morley of Somerville describes his 9-year-old cousin Amelia. She's endured a stroke and a brain bleed as well. Health struggles most adults never know, never mind children. So this year, Liam is going the distance to honor her fight. CBSN Boston's Nick Emmons shares their story.
Okay, say cheese.
How do you say thank you for a life saved? Sometimes words just aren't enough. For Liam Morley, he shows his gratitude by running. Running for his 9-year-old cousin Amelia.
Stronger, tougher, braver.
And the doctors and nurses at Boston Children's Hospital who took care of her during an incredibly scary time about 2 years ago.
I was 7 years old when I had my stroke.
Do you remember much about what happened?
No, but I do remember a little bit, like, about the people who treated me. They were really kind.
We knew very much that it was serious. Every day was like is it going to be okay at the end of the day, or is it not? And so there's definitely a heightened sense of anxiety.
No one felt that anxiety more than Amelia's parents, Megan and Tim.
Well, my wife and I got to work quite early that morning, and we got the phone call that something was amiss, and we had to travel urgently to South Shore Hospital. And so we actually hopped in an Uber, and in 38 minutes we were there the whole time, not knowing, what was going on.
And when we got there, she was going into a CAT scan and completely unresponsive. And it was shocking, because the 2 days before, we had all hiked Mount Monadnock in New Hampshire. So here was this 7-year-old who hiked thousands of foot mountains 2 days prior. So it was shocking.
And to arrive and see your child seemingly lifeless and unconscious, and knowing that things are incredibly urgent, to get the news that we need to go to the hospital by helicopter right now was incredibly traumatic and scary.
Amelia was med-flighted from South Shore Hospital to Boston Children's. It was determined her brain was bleeding and she would need surgery.
She has a really rare condition called arteriovenous malformation, which is a tangle of blood vessels in her brain.
Boston Children's is a familiar place for the Driscolls. It's where Tim works, but now his daughter was a patient.
He knows a lot of the folks in the ICU, and they came in and they saw him there that morning thinking that he was there for work, and then put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, we got to the ED, and one of the attendings is someone that I work with on a few projects, and he looked at me funny and said, "Hey, Tim, what are you doing here?" Kind of tilted his head, and I said, "That's my daughter." And he said, "Oh my gosh, Jesus."
Amelia would spend weeks in intensive care, but after multiple surgeries, she pulled through, even stronger and braver than she went in.
This is just time.
Well, you sound good. What do you think about when you see those pictures of what you were going through?
Sometimes I try to think from my parents' and my relatives' perspective of what it was like having me go through this. So I find it really scary for them.
For Liam, this run is for everyone at Boston Children's, all the doctors and nurses who are Amelia's newest friends.
What I was really impressed with was their ability, or at least my perception of their ability to take care of them as human beings. And so I really felt called to honor that.
And while the race looks different this year, with runners charting their own course.
26.2 in the book?
Yeah, I just finished.
Liam's finish line is actually this house, so we were going to kind of have a little finish line party.
The mission is the same: finish strong.
I feel like Liam especially, and all the runners, have been really resilient throughout COVID-19 because they're still running a marathon, like 20-something miles, and that's all for kids at Boston Children's.
Great job, Liam! Good job, Pacers!
In Canton.
And I feel really proud.
1, 2, 3.
Nick Emmons, CBSN Boston.
What a family. All right, coming up, the first woman to complete the World Marathon Challenge discusses her fearless pursuit of big goals. Becca Peasy relives those grueling 7 days ahead. But first, hats off to State Police Captain Leonard Koppenrath. He completed his 5th Boston in Marshfield on Monday with a bit of motivation from his family, who posted inspirational signs along the route. Leonard ran in support of Cops for Kids with Cancer. Congrats to Leonard.
Hi everyone, my name is Abdi Nageye from the Netherlands.
I'm very honored to run the virtual Boston Marathon 2020. My best memory of Boston Marathon is 2016, the Olympic year. I was number 7. So again, very honored, and who knows, see you next year.
Peasy was the first woman to complete the World Marathon Challenge. 7 marathons in 7 days, 1 on each continent. It's the ultimate test of endurance. And during that week, Becca battled several extremes, most notably the changes in climates. Tonight, she walks us through that trip of a lifetime, starting with the first one in Antarctica.
You step off the plane and it kind of takes your breath away. You're like, this is going to be a long day. It's very cold. But it was so awesome. We took the Roche Illusion, which is a military-style plane that could land us safely on a glacier. And it was awesome. I felt like I am so lucky to be doing this. But you go to start the race, and it was so cold, my iPod wouldn't even turn on. And it was fully charged. And I was like, this is going to be a long 4 hours. What am I going to do? The 2 guys that were ahead of me were about 15 minutes ahead of me, and the guy behind me was 30 minutes behind me. And I was like, during the race, am I even going in the right direction? It's just 4 10K loops. So you're like, I got this. You just stay focused, and you don't, let your guard down, and you trust your training, and I had worked really hard over the course of the year. The good thing about Antarctica is you can't run it fast. You kind of feel like you're working really hard and not moving that fast because you have so much gear on. And the sun is totally blinding. You have to be covered head to toe. No part of your skin can be shown because you'll get little blisters, and the sun is fierce, and the wind is just I felt like somebody was like holding my jacket down.
And then you get back on this military style airplane, and then you fly where?
Chile. So we had about a 7-hour flight to get there.
And was this one on roads, streets, pathways, bikeways?
Streets. This one was from this point on, we were on the street.
You must have felt like, wow, there's people out here, and there's buildings.
Yeah, and that's what it was like. I'm like, somebody cheered my name. The first one that cheered my name, I was like, and because what would happen is the race director would alert the town and say, we're coming, and come cheer for us. And mostly running stores were like, oh my God, this is great. We'll go cheer her on. That'll be so fun. So that was really helpful. So
plane lands, there's some time, you run the race, you finish the race. How are you feeling after number 2?
I feel like strong and confident and right where I needed to be.
And your body's holding up?
Yeah, lots of recovery, lots of pliability, lots of just stretching and foam rolling, and was in a good place.
Okay, so now 2 down. Where do you fly next?
Miami, home course advantage. I had Starbucks and pizza.
And was this through residential neighborhoods, or was it like?
No, this was on the Miami boardwalk. So I had my friends and family there, and that was really awesome to have their support there.
Up and down kind of thing?
Yeah. 4 out and backs.
Wow.
On the boardwalk, lots of palm trees.
Yeah, it would have been nice to finish with Miami as number 7, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you, nope, you got back on the plane, and then was it off to Africa or Europe?
Madrid. So this one was Madrid. Madrid and Morocco were the ones that I was essentially training my mind and body for the entire year, because those marathons were 2 marathons within 12 hours. Madrid was run at 11 a.m. We took an hour-and-a-half flight to Morocco, and that was run at midnight. So I'm like, if I can just get through these 2 marathons, I'll be on the home stretch. So it ran around these camels, and it was in Marrakesh. Yeah. And I remember looking at these camels, and I was like, is this real life? Is this happening? And they were spitting. It was really cool. Morocco was one of my favorite locations. It was awesome.
You must be completely shot after number 5. I mean, after Madrid, and then another one, basically 2 in 12 hours. I can't even imagine.
That was tough. That was probably harder than Antarctica, just because they were back to back. When I towed the line of Morocco, I'm like, yikes, I'm tired. And it took me about 5 to 7 miles to really wake up my legs. They just weren't really moving.
So now from Marrakesh, you are flying where?
Dubai.
Oh, another cool climate. So
That was really hot in Dubai. It was pretty hot.
What time was the race? I mean, what time did you land? What time did you run?
We landed at 10. We started the race at 12. So I had just called my dad. I said, we have 2 more to go. It's happening. We're doing it. I was just saying, I feel so good and strong, and I can bang out these next two marathons.
10 p.m. or a.m.?
A.m. So the sun was like really, really blinding. It was hot. It was like Dubai. And I remember like it just being like really hot and sticky. And I remember just thinking, at least I'm not in Antarctica. I suffered an injury in Dubai. I felt like my leg tear at mile 2. And I just was like laying on the ground, kind of like rocking. And I remember like, my teeth moving on their own, thinking like, I'm in trouble. Something is really hurting. So it turned out to be a torn groin. So I remember Tom Brady saying in the Boston Globe, we didn't come this far to just come this far. So I got up and I finished that marathon and literally just took 1 mile at a time and thinking, I put way too much, invested way too much time and money and effort into this, and nothing's going to stop me. So at that point, when I finished Dubai, I really wasn't in the best place, mentally and physically. I had 1 more to go.
Okay. And so then you get ready for number 7 in Sydney. Again, where's this one running around? Is it like
right near the Opera House? It was really awesome. It was right on the water too.
How was the temperature? I mean, you're in the middle of summer now, and I imagine it's pretty hot.
Yeah, it was definitely really, really hot in the 80s.
Toes in, 1 mile at a time. Your husband was there. He's got people on Skype cheering you all the way.
Yeah, it was awesome. I had a friend living right there at the time, a mile from the finish, and he came and biked with me. He biked and I ran, and he just was, we were pulling out all the resources, anything that they thought would help. I can't imagine that conversation behind my back, like we can help her. But it was definitely, it was still so fun, and when I crossed the finish line, my parents were live on Skype and they were crying and they were like, we did it. And I said, we? So at that point on, and my daughter was pulled from her classroom and she got down to the principal's office and she got to announce that I just made history, and the whole school like roared, and she was like, Mom, it was so awesome.
That's incredible. Wow. Becca wrote all about her historic accomplishment in her new children's book. It's called Becca's Feet on Feet, and it's out now. Her goal is to inspire kids to dream just as big as she does. Wow. All right, coming up on Saturday at the Boston Marathon Online Expo, hear from the 2021 U.S. Women's Olympic Marathon team, the fearless and relentless Catherine Switzer, and tips on how to run your best virtual Boston. That's tomorrow at bostonmarathonexpo.com. 26.2. It's on to mile 27. Usually this is the big post-race party at Fenway Park for all the runners. This year the celebration goes virtual. Join us Monday night at 8 p.m. live from Fenway as we celebrate the 2020 Boston Marathon. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Boston Marathon Live. We'll be right back here tomorrow night on CBSN Boston. You'll meet Gail Henville, another member of the honorary Boston Marathon team, who is inspiring runners to cross their own personal finish lines. Plus, we'll bring you more highlights of 2020 marathoners finishing their big races. Keep sending us those pictures and videos. #FinishStrong. I want to thank our crew, Jackie Canale, Jesse Miller, Dana McLaughlin as well. For all of us, have a great night. And if you're running your Boston Marathon tomorrow, good luck and have a great time. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.